foundation is doing a lot of interesting stuff. So I'd love to introduce a little bit about what we are doing, but most important thing is why we are gonna make it. So for Web3, we always have the spirit. I mean, we always love to build stuff. We always to encourage different people to learn Web3, to learn Solidity, because we all rise from bottoms. So now I will give a little bit about what we have. So, great. I call it the road to mass adoption, Web3 ecosystem, East Asia, Middle East region. Cool. So I really love the word uplifting the whole people. So it is by the first president of University of Alberta. I use that for a long time because we do really want to uplifting the whole people. So today I want to introduce why Wagami. All Web3 builders rise from bottom, same to us. So like 5 to 6 years ago, we first entered this industry, and we have nothing, but we do, we are very optimistic, and we do have the faith in this industry, and we are long-term builders. So this is the 2018, one of the first groups of Chinese devs and blockchain developers in Shanghai. And at that time, only these kind of people know how to code in Solidity. I mean, it's very interesting. Nowadays, Solidity is kind of dominating. Everybody know how to build in Solidity. But at that time, even Vitalik is looking for more developers trying to build different dApps on Solidity. And this is the fourth industry revolution hackathon in 2019 in Beijing. It's very Asian times pictures. Also have Suchi and Steven from Dara Hacks in Beijing. We joined that pretty good events. And I go to GDC, Game Developer Conference in 2019. And at that time, we met with Jihong and Gabby, the co-founder of X Infinity, co-founder of YGG. And yeah, why we are doing that? Because at that time, we are so poor. I mean, no blockchain teams can have one booth in Game Developer Conference. Game Developer Conference is one of the biggest conferences in San Francisco. And the whole industry is so poor. I mean, we do not have money, and we go to this VC's house because they have free food and free drinks. But all the builders are so optimistic because Jihong and Gabby said we will go to Southeast Asia, we will find some more builders, we will find more players, and we will spread out our X Infinities. So these are early days builders, very interesting. And we also have the China Joy Shanghai doing the presentation, One Shot Blockchain Summit. I think some of them you may know, such as Ilya from Nia, and also Alex from Canada, and he's building the Diffuse. And Diffuse will sell to the Graph. I mean, this cycle, the Graph is really good. And also Harry from Arisnet. And at that time, I already doing some lectures to MENA friends, Middle East, North Africa friends in 2019. So we teach them how to code, and we teach them move language even. So for China, we want to be a bridge rather than just a tool. It's really easy to say this word, but how we can do that is the most important things. We got recommended on Ethereum.org, so this is one achievement. And for myself, I was thinking what I have built in the past 5 years. For example, I got the Pope. If you do commit to Ethereum.org or Ethereum Foundation, you will get Pope from 2022 and 2023. And also just from one friend from Aspen, they try to issue the NFT like the Web3 master. They said my code committee is defeated like 99.7 coders on GitHub. And we also build a lot of stuff like Matrix World, like Fanta Bear. We also, contribute to CryptoC, to many stuff. So for myself, we also have Ethereum Yard, Ethereum Shanghai. We go to Ethereum Belgrade, we go to Ethereum Dubai. I will join Ethereum Abu Dhabi. So all these kind of events, because we want to connect local builders and we want to help them. We want to encourage them to build more stuff on Ethereum. We want to help them to get into the Web3 world. We also build Matrix World. Matrix World is a multi-chain metaverse, and this is the first multi-chain metaverse. It's both on Flow and on Ethereum, and we do that like 2 to 3 years ago, and also reach really good results. And for myself, I educate more than 30,000 coders in China. So we have this kind of class. So each of them, we will have 50 to 60 people, and we do it for 100 times. There's no there's no easy way you can build up your local ecosystems. The only way you can do it is you keep building it. You educate, you teach them how to code, you encourage them to build apps, you teach them front end, back end, solidity, you teach them the smart contract, you help them to do auditing. I mean, every stuff we do it for 100 times, then you can have your local developer ecosystems. And we educate the first 1,000 blockchain engineers in Africa. So this is on Binance official website. You can see chair ID there. And we also go to Africa because we want to help them. We want to teach them how to code in Africa. The friends from Nigeria, from Kenya, from South Africa, and also CZ comes for each of our events at that time. So, I mean, this is an 8 weeks free course, free boot camps, and for 6 weeks we teach them. We teach them free to code, how to do everything. Finance friends teach them 2 weeks, we teach them 6 weeks. And for Indonesia Blockchain Weeks, all this kind of international conference, I'm there to do live coding. So in this conference, I'm an open charity. I teach them how to code in charity, how to code in Solidity. And also replace Ethereum hackathons. So we get funded from Ethereum Foundation and we build this kind of hackathons. And I also go to Cash. Of course, Web3 Cash is really the kind of greatest community I have ever made, and not only in Turkey, but around the world. And that brings me to a lot of good friends, true builders in Cash. And I also go to Lebanon. The government can only support 2 hours of electricity, but we still establish local developers. In the basement, sometimes the electricity was suddenly gone out, but we still go there. Their central bank is bankrupt. There's no banks there, but they can use crypto there. They can use crypto to buy coffee. They can use crypto to do OTCs. Really interesting place. This is their central bank, and this is their new central bank. I'm kidding about that because this is a crypto central. You can cash out. This is a really hard, great buildings. You can cash out in that buildings with BNB chair, with Ethereum, with anything. So I travel all these places in Middle East, in East Asia, because I want to connect with local builders and also help them, if I can, teach them how to code, teach them to build up local developer ecosystems. And I want to talk about a little bit of Yasal Uyarı we just built. The chairman of Saudi Internet Society, also the governor from recommended by MCIT, Dr. Validi is coming, and also the Web3 advisor, the ex-advisor to central banks, Saudi central banks. Dr. Burada is coming. Layer 1, Layer 2 panels. AQ will come later. AQ from Ethereum Foundations, and Arpit from NEO, and also Anthem from Zilliqa. They are doing the Layer 1, Layer 2 panels. And also Animoca's executive chairman Yasu is coming, our good friends. And also we have a special session with opportunities of Web3 and tech in Saudi. And also Tim Baker gave a really good topics with Ethereum governance. And Ethereum Riyadh 2023 was successfully held at King Saud University Digital Entrepreneur Center and contributing to the growth of Web3 developer ecosystem in the Middle East region. And we also have Ethereum Shanghai co-organized with Suji for 2022 and 2023. Suji is doing the fireside chat with Jim Rogers, and also we get a really good opening speech from Mr. Li Yixin. And also we have the keynote from Vitalik in 2022, I think, with the Ethereum Shanghai and Beyond Shanghai. And also we gather the builders at Ethereum Shanghai and doing some topics, and also the vice president of Hong Kong University of Science and Technology, Dr. Wang Yang. So Ethereum Shanghai 2022 and 2023, we connect our local builders, contribute to East Asia region's developments. Now we are expanding. We want to help with more people. This is our, target. The charity in Meta region, like the Silk Road, the Asian Time Silk Road. We host more than 200 events in the past 5 years, from East Asia to Middle East, Turkey, Africa. And we want to do it more because we want to contribute more. We want to be long-term builders. So with all this, we can say we want to be a bridge rather than just a tool. We keep building, we connect builders, and we are gonna make it. Thank you. And most importantly, I visited Istanbul and Cash last year. Web3 Cash is a really fabulous place, and I met many true builders and many Web3 friends, and I met today's heroes. And without that, we cannot never make these great events happen. And I want to pass this to Seth and keep going. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much. For speaking. Now from Tariq Storage, Anthony Shiak with my keynote. Please.
Okay, so before that, maybe I can just introduce myself a little bit. Thanks for inviting me. This is my first time to go to Istanbul, but actually this is my third week. So I have been, get around for like almost like a month. So I pretty much treat myself as like a local. I went to a lot of like really good like restaurants and enjoy. I just walk around and yeah, everything looks fantastic. Yeah, we got everything. Nice. Go back to the first one. So a little bit myself, Anthony, basically the founding partner, and also I'm responsible for all the marketing and media stuff for ETH storage. Before that, I'm also has been in this area ever since 2018. We have been doing a lot of infrastructure stuff. So pretty familiar with like all the ecosystem and all the like stories behind that. Before doing like the blockchain stuff, I have been in both like some finance in New York and some engineering stuff in Silicon Valley. So I'm pretty much familiar with both finance background and the traditional Web2 background before getting into the Web3. Except for the project we're doing, because I know Shell mentioned a lot of like public good things he has been doing. Sorry I didn't put like the slides here, but actually we have been founded a dev community which has about like 2,000 members. The name is Web3Builder.tech. I can share the link later. Basically for that group, we do 2 sharing sessions. This is like an online course each week. So there will be, deep dive for the research paper, and there will be technical costs for any related things. For example, DK, account abstract, layer 1, layer 2, and all the hot topic we actually cover there. Yeah, so it's totally like a public goods things, and that's in both English and Chinese. So if you guys find that interesting, I can share it later. Okay, so back to the speech about the team. So I have already introduced who am I, and this is my partner Qi. He's a doctor, and before doing the blockchain stuff, he both worked at Google and Facebook. Also, he has been multiple author for EIPs. We also received 2 grants for the Ethereum Foundation for our project, and we got the first place at this year's AdCom. So what is exactly HH storage? The major goal here is we want to build a storage roll up built on top of Ethereum. So in very simple sentence, we are native storage layer. That is, we are native IPFS for Ethereum. So we can be a layer 2 for layer 1, which is Ethereum. We can also be a layer 3 for all the existing layer 2, arbitrum, optimism, scroll, whatever. Yeah. And our goal is trying to lower the storage cost by 1,000 times compared with store or Ethereum directly, while expand the capacity to the PB level. The storage fee still will be paid in Ethereum because it's like a Ethereum ecosystem. And every node, for example, 4 petabytes can enter the network. So we try to make it more permissionless instead of you have to buy some machine just like Filecoin. I talk a little bit we're using the storage roll up, right? People may be very unfamiliar with this term because we have been talking about EVM roll up. For example, Arbitrum Optimism, they're using the EVM roll up. And ZK roll up, we talk about Scroll, DK Sync. They're also using EVM roll up. What's the main difference? So basically, all these EVM roll up, they're optimized to get more transaction, which is moving faster. So transaction per second. But what we do here is actually giving incentive for storage providers to store more things. So that's the main difference in the main design. Another common question has been asked many times is, what's the key difference from the existing, storage providers, for example, Filecoin or Vail? Actually, there are 3. I would say 2, yeah. So the first one is Vail or Filecoin. They're designed for code data, which is static data, but we are actually for dynamic data. And the second one is, like I said, so we are within the Ethereum ecosystem. So anything, for example, MetaMask, Solidity, Webflow, those kind of technology has been widely using within the Ethereum ecosystem can be adapted to us easily. Yeah, so talking about application level, like I said, so we're a layer 2, we're layer 3, right? So we can be a long-term solution for all the existing roll-ups, like Arbitrum, Optimism, Scroll, and so on. And we can also support the fully decentralized website. For IPFS, they can also host the website, but all in the static way, but we can host everything in the dynamic way. And we can be native storage for on-chain data, for example, GameFi, SocialFi, NFT as well. One knowledge people may not notice is all the NFT right now on Ethereum, actually the data, the image is not hosted on Ethereum because it's too expensive. So everything actually is hosted on IPFS. Yeah, so it's not a really on-chain NFT. So the key technology here has been a lot, to be honestly, although I just described that in very simple way. So first, you need to figure out how to upload data using data availability technology. So this part, we got support from Ethereum Foundation, and we already finished this research. And the second part is you have to demonstrate like you store enough data on layer 2 by verify everything on layer 1 smart contract. And this part, we also got another grants from EF. We almost finished that. And the third part is after all the data is on chain, you have to retrieve them. So you need to know where to find it and to showcase them. So this part, we have our ERC 4804, which already been finalized early this year. Yeah. So this is something actually you can just use right away. Especially for this Dev Connect, I know people have heard about this word, data availability, many times, although lots of the people actually don't know what is that. So I just want to spend a little bit more time to explain that. So when Ethereum trying to move from the single blockchain to a module blockchain, so nowadays we have multiple layers. So we have layer 1, which is Ethereum for execution layer. So we have layer 2, arbitrum, optimism, scroll, zk sync, linear, a lot of them. So they're actually responsible for more speed, right? More transaction per second. And then we have the DA layer, data availability. Why? Because all the layer 2 have to submit their data into the DA layer to make sure they're decentralized, there's more security. Yeah, because layer 2, as we know, has very less node. It's easily to be attacked. So that's why we have like a DA layer. And according to dank sharding, which will be the next upgrade, after the DA came out, we will have more block. So basically 20 times compared with right now. That means you can upload much more data than before into the Ethereum block, as you can see here. So the performance, from call data to 4844 to dank sharding, which is the DA layer for the real Ethereum, will be grow significantly. And after that, the cost will be much lower. But according to this design, the data will not be stored forever. It will be thrown away in 18 days. That means in 18 days, you need to be responsible for yourself, like where to store this data. So that's why ETH storage came. After the data has to be thrown away from the DA layer in Ethereum, so we were responsible for store all the data for you permanently. So that's why I'm saying we're not doing data availability ourselves. We're actually working with all the DA solution to provide a permanent storage solution. So this is like a technical details. Maybe I will just skip. If you be interested, you can always go to our website to check more details. Yeah, the basic idea is just like we have a smart contract on layer 1. It will inform the storage provider in layer 2 to download data and keep consistently to store that and the proof they have the data so they can just receive the grant or incentive as like Ethereum. Yeah, so this is what I mentioned before, the grant we got from Ethereum, the proof of storage. This is a new consensus we proposed. So we can verify the data has been consistent stored on layer 2 and verify that in the layer 1 smart contract. And here, maybe you remember I just said there are like 3 steps, right? The first step is upload the data through data availability. And the second step is store the data. And third step is retrieve the data, which means you need to find the data and showcase that, right? So this is 4804 I just mentioned. It's actually a decentralized HTTP. We all know what is HTTP, right? Instead of just serving everything in the centralized server, this one is actually store your front-end code into the smart contract, which means everything will be hosted on chain, and there's no Infura, there's no DNS, and all the centralized part. Yeah. And this one has been active for not only just Ethereum level 1, and we have been hosted in many different like layer 1 or layer 2. Yeah, you can just find a way to host it all your website, your content fully on chain. In terms of timeline, like I said, we already finished like everything for testnet, and the 4804 Web3 protocol I just mentioned has been fully finished as well, and everything's final. For this year, so our main work has been integrate with 4844. That is before the bank sharding. This part we hope everything. Originally, the launch time is later this year during like the dev connecting, but actually it has been postponed. So we expect everything may be just fully on chain next year, hopefully. Yeah. And after that will be the final stage for bank sharding. Yeah. So that's pretty much everything. And this is my, Telegram and also my email. Feel free to reach out to me. And I just promise I will show to you the link for Web3Bureau.tech. Type it here. Yeah, never mind. I will share later. Yeah, so they can just send to you guys. Sorry.
Okay, thank you. So next speaker is my good friend Suji Yan from Mars Network. He is founder of Mars. Welcome.
Hello. A little bit more introduction about myself. Besides founding the Mass back in 2017, I was I say like social activist or hacktivist. People use technology to do activism stuff. That's how I ended up in the crypto community. And also, I was a engineer. I was an independent investigative journalist for several famous media in Asia from China or Japan. And all it ends up to my understanding of like decentralized social network, or generally what's the end goal? What's the end goal of our industry? What's the meta thesis of the decentralized technology industry, right? So that's the story I mentioned. I was, dropout student. I was like journalist. I was like activist. And all the other business part, raising money and doing fund, mass network. So that's the activism things I mentioned. It's called 1996. That's once pretty famous in China and globally. That was like using the open source as a weapon to basically to anti the Jack Ma's idea of overworking and not paying them. And then it went viral and became reported by all the mainstream media. Code is a weapon, right? And it is a weapon. So if code is a weapon, what we are building in Web3, what is the fundamental question we should ask, right? And that's the things I've been in my head since 2017. Like, what is country? What is the country consist of? Like, what is something we are building in this so-called interesting cyberspace that people are like, launching new token, launching new DAO every day, and we're, so-called family and what's going on. Yeah. I then recall another historical. I think it's historical in the sense of internet. 1996 is definitely a historical internet masterpiece written by John Peter Barrow. He was the co-founder of EFF, Electronic Frontier Foundation. If you ever read the history of 90s internet, they're the guy who sued the United States government to open the lift of encryption. So he wrote this famous declaration in 1996 in Switzerland, Davos, during his trip there, that he won a declaration of independence of the cyberspace. So I don't want to cite the whole article, but it's very powerful and very short. Everyone should read that. So government of the industrialized world, your weary giants of flesh and steel, I come from cyberspace, the new home of mine. On behalf of future, I ask you of the past to leave us alone. You are not welcome among us. You have no sovereignty where we gather. So that's 1996, right? And that time it's a dream that we may have an independent cyberspace and we may form a country that in the internet. That's a dream. And now it seems like a little bit different. And there's some goal, there's some battle, there's some role models in his declarations that over the past 20 years it seems pretty clear to me. So there's a goal. Let's gather the civilization of the minds, and we form our own community. And there's a battle, right? Definitely the old establishment won't like us, no matter it's encryption, no matter it's free internet, no matter it's crypto. It's not going to be welcome. It's going to be some civil war because they not welcome us doesn't mean they're evil. It's just because they don't understand what's going on. And there will be some role models. In the 90s, there's the cypherpunks, right? Including the Edward Snowden, Aaron Schwartz, and Julia Assange, all these other guys. And that might including the early Satoshi. It might be one person or several, but that definitely included in the cyberpunk goals. And the one mission, let the government of the people, by the people, and for people last forever in the cyberspace. So, what's the current stage of internet? And because I was a journalist, I was an independent journalist, I was an investigative journalist. I write a lot about geopolitics, right? So, what's the current stage of the internet? So, I think current stage of cyberspace or the internet is a colonized place. It's been colonizing by all the major powers of the world. So here on the left, we have the East Indian Company. This logo is the British East Indian Company, British EIC. On that time, there's so many East Indian Company. There's every major power have an East Indian Company. And on the other side, we have the internet giants. So there's a lot of East cyberspace company, right? Like WeChat, Tencent, that's the Chinese East Indian Company, and Facebook is the American East Indian Company. Like OpenAI maybe it's the Microsoft East Indian Company. It doesn't matter. It's just different kind of like colonized, company. They're colonizing the cyberspace, which we are. Our generation is the first generation of the cyberspace, and somehow it's have different stage. Stage one, it's like here, QD, Jack Ma, and Tencent and Facebook. They just, they're like, still new to this phase. They don't know what's going on. Like, hey, let's conquer free land. There's no one there. Let's get some users. The second stage is become large. They start to eat each other. So they bite each other. Like, they use the government or regulated tool as a weapon to fight and to bite each other. Say, hey, TikTok is a spyware, right? And Facebook is banned in China as well. So it's like a way to, it's how East Indian company work. You only have one India. You only have one North America. People just use a weapon to get the land and get resources. The third stage is, like people on this new continent, they start to realize, hey, what the fuck, what's going on? Why we just don't do a revolution? Why we don't have our own country? What if we can just, say, dude, we learn all from you guys, but we get rid of you guys and build our own country. So great technology, great, great innovation from those big companies, but why we need you guys? We don't need them at all if we really figure out what's going on, right? So I think that's the current stage we are on. We are at the beginning of the third stage, and we start to realize we don't really need those big giants. We can learn from them, and we can build our own, and we can have something like larger than them, but it's collectively controlled by the people. And that's eventually the concept of the independence of cyberspace. And there are several books since then echo the same idea, like the sovereign individual in the late 90s, and recently the Noble State is more popular in the crypto community by Burada, which is also our like small shareholder. Anyway, this idea like there's going to be a new organization or new country on top of the internet or the cyberspace. But okay, that's a good idea, but we've been talking about that since 1996. How can we do that? It's more important how can we have a step-by-step roadmap. Okay, very easy. Then we're going to read back the history again. That's 2012 book. It's written in 2010 and published in 2012 by Julia Assange. In the context of history of internet, this is already a historical article. And he said the word is not sliding, but whatever. And he said we're transitional dystopia. The internet, our greatest tool has become transformed into the most dangerous facilitator of totalitarianism and we have ever seen. The internet is a threat of human civilization. It's 2010, written by Julia Assange before he was arrested and spent his 8 years in London. And yeah, so that's, I think it's another thing we need to figure out, like why we should treat our cyberspace as a colonized state or colonized land. Okay, so 1, 2, 3. How do you do that, right? Okay, we start our own company somehow. Like a lot of people start our own company. Some went evil, some went big, some become like East Indian company of China or of US, and some become community-owned, right? Like Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can say at first it's just like a company. You have like a leader, and then you have a team working for you, and then the leader just disappears like Satoshi. Or the leader like Tally just sung karaoke and eat Chinese happo every time and don't really write code, it's good. So you become a community. Then you have your own currency. You become like, people have a belief in your own currency. Unlike the many other, sovereign currency that actually people don't really have belief. So that's a really rare thing to have a belief in a currency. I think it's only like 10 countries or 10 currency or 10 asset class in the world have this kind of belief. You have your belief in your own currency. And then you start to have more things on top of it, right? So, and then you start to argue like, oh, what is the unique thing that you can never do in the traditional world? Because people are going to say, hey, in the traditional world we're also good, in the old land we're also good. There's many things you can never do in the traditional world. Like how can AI own a wallet? How can AI own some asset, right? So there's something start to have unique features and unique possibilities only able to achieve in the new cyberspace. That's going to be very likely American founding history. That people just run away to North America. It's a colonized place at first, but people realize, oh, there's certain things you can only do here. And then the only problem is like we're still colonized by the old European, giants. Now it's time to overthrow them. And there's then the layers here. And then from 2017. As mentioned by the director of this blockchain lab, I think it's time like most of the world start to realize the application and the power of crypto by financing and listing. You can finance and listing, even a scam, but you can also finance and listing that's something not likely to be funded by mainstream or traditional investors at that time. Right, you can just give your community a name. You can give them an ID. Transfer from a random ID like your citizen ID into a more human ID. You get names, right? On DNS, like you got some like connection to a big family. Like .eth is our common last name. You can think about this way. And then you have governance, right? It's kind of broken right now, but it can take many years. The establish of modern country take over 100 years. So I'm optimistic. I think in 20, 30 years we're going to fix the governance. Then we're going to have finance. Like, oh, everyone have their own internet magic money. How can I borrow money from the other internet magic person? I'm not going to go through the middleman. I have to use DeFi. And then everyone have their own internet magic money, and they have on their own country. They have their own preference of art. They have their own preference of culture. They want to exchange the idea. Yeah, they want to do NFT. So NFT is the renaissance. Right? NFT is the renaissance because you have the new class of people say, hey, we don't like the old ones. We don't just paint things for church. We just do whatever we want. It's kind of like ugly, monkey. It's fine. But we start to exchange. And then people are gonna talk, oh, that ape is really ugly. That Azuki, it's really cool. People are gonna talk. You don't wanna talk in other people's tongue. You want to talk in your own language, even though the same language, like the Americans talking the same language as the British, but they don't like each other during the independence war. You have to invent your own words or own, terms like what me, Jian. It's become like a cult. Like you invent your own words, and people start talking to each other, and you have social network. A social network become public forum, become the political power. And that's what we're doing. And I was born in China, so I was like I'm gonna use 100 years ago historical example. I think it's also kind of well known here. In every country, you have one example in the last 200 years about the revolution. So yeah, all this revolution comes with someone need money, and the Chinese league funded by Dr. Sun Yat-sen, who I think is the first Chinese guy issue a coin in the year 1895. He basically print money. He print the Chinese Revolution coin and raised for overseas Chinese to overthrow the imperialism in China. And he just went everywhere and raised money. And then he issued NFT. He issued NFT as newspaper. Because buying his coin is quite expensive. Like $5 for his coin. I mean, most people don't have $5, but you can free print your NFT. So that's important. You can still screenshot your NFT, you got a newspaper, you print your NFT again, send to other people. You transmit idea, you transmit ideology. And someone on the newspaper, the original version, they can still earn some money. So they have the first generation Chinese newspaper, which is like promoting revolutionary ideas. That's why when I jumped in 2016, 2017, I'm like, okay, I can see the DeFi is coming. I can see the NFT is coming. So what is the next thing? I think the revolution is going to come. I think that's when the people can talk to each other and we're going to gather them on some public forum. I think that's going to be the social network. And again, I think that's going to be the renaissance of cyberspace. And we're going to learn from the past. The past is like the last 20 years, like the original beautiful version of internet. So yeah, so that's what we have built, like several products, commercial things like mass network extension, and we are the largest donor, so far largest donor for the Mastodon, if you have heard of that. They're one of the decentralized social network. We built our own DID. Next slide, you can check it. It's a more developing phase protocol, and Firefly.land, our consumer app. And then we also launched a fund. The reason we launched a couple venture capital CVC is we don't want to be another VC. We want to back on the revolution, and the revolution need money. And it's going to be good if we can have some return by backing the revolution. Then somehow you just issue a new revolution coin, and we just invest in the new revolution coin and get some profit. So that's why we launched Bonfire Union. Bonfire is echoing the 5th of November. If you ever watched the movie V for Vendetta, remember the 5th of November. That's another masterpiece. Everyone should try it a little bit. So that's our journey since 2017, the founding of Mass Network, and why we think the social network is important. Eventually, the end goal of our industry is to form a new country. No matter in the left side or in the right side, it doesn't matter. But in the next generation, in the next century, we're going to see that. And it's our pleasure to back it through development, through building and holding and investing. And again, I'm going to quote Julian Assange. If to hold back the coming dystopia, we cannot, and if else fail to accelerate self-destruction. So we will create a civilization of the mind in cyberspace, made to be more human and fair than the world the government ever made. That's again 1996, John P. Navarro, Declaration of Independence of Cyberspace. All right, follow me on Twitter or other social media or email. You can DM me. Usually I reply every few days. I think we have a lot of technology details later on, but just some ideology, spicy ideology first. Okay, thank you.
Thanks for this speech, Julian. And now our first panel is our panelists are here. Shule Shirikoğlu, she is our first panel moderator. and from Entity Data Business Solutions, she's product developer. Cihan Uygur from Zero Xwise, head of community. Is Jennifer here? Did he arrived? He will be a little bit late because of the condition. Okay, we can start. Ekin Tuna, please. He is community lead from Tom.
Örnek everyone, thanks for being developer at Turkey and Web3 environment panel. So let me introduce myself first. I work at Entity Data Business Solutions as a front-end developer. My company works to help digital transformation in software development, and let's move on.
Geçtim biraz.
Representing our panelists here today. From Zero Xwise, head of community, Cihan Uygur. And from Tom, we have community, Ekin Tuna, welcome. Would you please introduce yourselves and more about your projects, please?
Okay, so hey everybody, I'm Ekin Tuna. I'm the Ton Society lead, which is a team in Ton. And what we focus on is regional expansion, and we focus on community management. So when you talk to Ton community, you talk to one of our team.
Thanks, pleased to meet you. And Mr. Uygur.
I'm a head of community in Zero Xwise and developer and collaboration manager in DAS project. I worked at finance and OneChain. Now I'm working in a DAS project also. It's a cybersecurity project. If you have any cybersecurity questions, you can contact me. Don't hesitate for that. And thank you for Bahçeşehir University for giving us a chance to sharing our expertise. And also I want to thank Erdemar because he's a amazing teacher and innovator, and I think we are lucky to have him here. So thank you.
That's great. So let's start with our first topic, if you're ready. So I want to ask you about what are the main challenges for forming a developer community in Turkey, and how or which ways do you overcome them? And also, what factors have played a critical role for growth the community when you're doing it? Who wants to answer first?
I can start. The biggest hurdle when setting up a community is setting the environment first, because you need to collect like-minded individuals in your community, and then you need to arrange the correct environment for them. For example, if you are doing an online meetup, the persons who join the sessions must know the digital ethic, because in Zoom the noises can distort the disturbance. Other than that, you need to have a balance with digital trends and industry knowledge, because if you're just doing for organizing a meetup for nothing, it's not a good. Then you must listen to your community, what they need, and later that you need to organize them.
That's exactly correct. Do you want to also answer, Mr. Tuna?
Yeah. So I was a builder back in the day some years ago, and what I really love is technology. So for my background, data science, developing pool models and algorithms. But I think for builders, the main question is, who are you building for? Like this industry, I've been here in 10 years now, and when we look at the trends, very good audience is investors and VCs. So it's good to build for investors and VCs when you can come up with revolutionary ideas. But one of the main issues that hasn't been addressed so far for builders is where are the end users? So are you building for investors, or are you building for end users? Because there's a different kind of interest and motivation of that. So I think when building a developer community, it's most important is to understand who is going to use those apps that the developers are going to develop, and are there really users? Is there perhaps need for yet another roll-up or something like this?
Thanks. By the way, let me represent our other panelists here today. Tarık Eroğlu from no, sorry for it, sorry. Yes, Şen Ferhat from Madariz.io. Can you please introduce yourself?
I'm here at Istanbul, like a local developer, blockchain developer mainly. Now I do much more business, but it has been like 5 or 6 years since I started developing Solidity. Before that I was normal JavaScript developer. So we did a lot of projects like here in Turkey. Also for developers, like I tell the same always, who's going to use it and does it solve a real problem or not. Also here we work with Burada in the blockchain laboratory together. We did a lot of good stuff.
Nice to meet you, Mr. Ferhat. Do you also want to answer for the first question? We talk about the challenges about forming a developer community in Turkey.
Yeah, forming a developer community is, we are talking about current community or building a new one?
Building a new one, yeah.
New one. So, developing Solidity actually seems easy, but it's not that easy. But you have a big advantage if you are developing with Java language. If you want to see an example of like commercial big software, you can't, because it is company's knowledge, it is company's know-how. So, but in Solidity it's not like that. It is open source mostly. So the best thing to do a developer is to read another contracts, to improve their skills. So as a Solidity developer, you will have a big advantage. But the main point is like try to develop something low level, because Solidity seems high level language like Java, C#, but it is a low level and it really gets hard when you get into it as professionally. Maybe you can try Rust first, C first, like normal C, to much more develop your skills.
Okay, thank you, that's great. So we can move on to our next topic in this area. How does the developer community in Turkey balance the local needs with global trends? And how does this interaction shape the focus areas of your community? Who wants to answer first?
Well, at Tom we're integrated in Telegram, so I've yet to meet a person who's in crypto and they don't use Telegram, right? If there's somebody here, please let me know. Would love to meet the first one. So I think for the global needs from my side, I mean, I can say that when you're developing and you want to develop for an audience of 800 million, then you can just check how the user flow is by going into Telegram, typing in wallet. That's where you're gonna get access to the wallet. Instantly you can deposit, TON, Bitcoin, and other currencies there. And when you develop a mini app, which takes approximately, if you do like front-end development, you can directly go hook up to the wallet to have the payment processing done. And mini app development is like 1 week, 2 week. Very, very fast, very simple. So like for Turkish developers, when they want to connect to the global like Web3 community, this is like the easiest way and fastest way to get yourself started and connected. Like results wise, I'm a big numbers guy, right? So like the silent rollout we've done so far, we launched 1 month ago. We have 3 million active wallets now. We can compare to like Polygon and Ether and these other chains which have around 15 million now after 10 years. So we're going to be seeing something very, very amazing happening soon.
Thanks.
So as developer, we are not like other employees or other workers. So the nature of our job is being global. And we have a lot of advantages. The first one is if you want to become a developer, you have to know English well. have to talk, you have to explain yourself well. But also, like, even if you can't speak, scanning, reading is the main skills here. First one is this. And the second one is, you know, we are at internet. You are in Istanbul, you can talk to a guy from Vietnam, you can talk to a guy from the United States. Everyone is open. So it is not like talking to a real person in front of you. You can just text anyone. And people in our community, when they develop their skills, no one came with that knowledge from his birth. So all of us did the same. It is not important that you don't know anything, but this is a starting point. Like, you can start anytime you want. No one has an advantage because they started 5 years ago, because technology develops very fast. So even if you started 5 years ago, you still have to study. So our job is studying like forever. And if you stop studying, you will just out of the box like in 2 years, maybe 3 years. So tech stacks always refresh. This is what you accept. You have to accept if you want to become a good developer and global. And contributing to open source projects, getting into the GitHubs, Discord channels. You can message people with Twitter in person, peer-to-peer communication. That can go very well. I see a lot of Turkish students like communicating with other developers from all around the world. It is easiest path is this one. Like, being a developer is getting connected to the whole world easily, and everyone is helpful because we all had the same path.
That's great.
First of all, I agree with Mr. Farhat, and I want to emphasize about on it because English is very important. Firstly, for example, when I entered the crypto sector 6 years ago, in Turkish there was no documentary. I mean, I had to learn all the things from on the internet, and there was no Turkish community. In Twitter, I was alone. Like, when I look, is there a Turkish? No, just a few persons. And other than that, the balancing is all very important. And what I mean by balancing, for example, if we are arranging education to developers or to any student who are interested in blockchain, you need to give beginner, intermediate, advanced, and also global trends like NFTs, AIs. You need to adjust your education to that. For example, a few days ago, I was at a ZK Science event, and I met with a Turkish student, and he said, I came here because I read the event named Zero Knowledge, and he thought it's a beginner knowledge, zero knowledge, right? But sadly, no, it's an advanced topic. So that's very important to give also beginner education to our students. That's all.
Thank you for all your answers. Let's move on to our other question. Actually, you answered a little bit, you talked about it. So what are the resources or methods do you use to educate developers, and what are the hurdles that you faced in that part? Actually, we talked about it, but you can also give examples for resources or methods that you tried.
Like I said, there's two kinds of readings: when you read a book or when you scan it. So this is not something you do intentionally, but there's like fast reading methods. We are not reading a novel, actually, when we try to do technical stuff. We scan for it. And this is the first method, I can tell. And when first one is you have to find a problem. and then I always do that. I think I'm not only one in this world, so I will try to find someone that has the same problem with me. I will look at Reddit, Stack Overflow, other places to find people that have same issue like me. And if I don't find anyone, then I'm wrong. Question has to change. The question is wrong, maybe. So that's my starting point. And it is like admitting yourself when you can't do something, admitting you can't, accepting the failure, and try to take consequence. Maybe you are just looking for another topic, like if you are a developer, if you don't know finance, it is super normal. So you can just ask a financial person. And as a developer, like I said, I can recommend just go to GitHub and other open source code reading platforms are one of the best place to learn. So just take a look at other people's codes and try to understand it. Why did they build something like this? Why did they need it? Why did they write that line of code? One by one, by the way, the programming it gets easier by the time. So when you start, it is kind of hard to figure out the logic behind it. But in time, you get used to it. So it gets easier and easier. So one day, like every problem is something you have seen in the past. So that is what we call experiencing.
Exactly. Experience makes perfect. Let's move on with the review.
I want to start as because I'm a front-end developer. I think first you need to join which you are interested. For example, I'm a front-end, so I join Telegram groups. As Mr. Ekin said, Telegram groups are very, very important in crypto, and you can get latest news about our sector, and you can enter Reddit groups. I suggest that too, because also in there you can find the latest information about, not just about crypto, in blockchain, in AI, in everything. That's why I like Reddit. But of course, don't be obsessed, because it can make you, how to say, like, don't do doom scrolling. It can be dangerous. Other than that, it's important to join, for example, your blockchain clubs like Boltec and other clubs in your area. For example, my community, 0xYs, we are doing cross education, we are doing hackathons. For example, lastly we did Hack Juno with in the Istanbul University, and also we always trying to do new hackathons. So it's also important to join these hackathons and get the latest knowledge, and join in real life meetings like this. And of course, you can join online meetings too. 2 years ago, I organized it when I was in Binance. I did a master class with Bahçeşehir, so I'm happy to be here also in real life. And networking is also important. Yes.
Thanks.
So it's like when you're investing in a company or a project through VC or grants or something, like how to distinguish somebody who's determined is by their patience and how long they can push the same topic, right? I met up actually a guy in this week who was like, it was a funny conversation. He came up and he was like, I was a part of, I applied for a grant and like nothing ever happened, and he was very bitter and angry about like the thing not moving forward. And like, so then I asked him, like, okay, so where is your project? And it was like, he got rejected, like, or he didn't get the answer like maybe 6 months ago or something, right? And so we asked him like, Okay, so where is your, what's your project doing now? It was, what I can't remember the platform, like how many users, what's the thing? And he's saying like, well, I shut it down. I didn't get a grant. So, like, you know, like learning to develop, right, it takes a long time. It's a skill that takes years to build. And like, if you're easily set by rejection and not getting the right answer, like, the fact is you're never gonna go anywhere, right? So, and also if you're a developer and you wanna get investment, you wanna build a business, you know, like external factors can determine your success, right? Only thing you can do is like push forward with your vision, and then by having that, you can find the success if your idea is good enough that it can make like a product market fit. So I think there's, of course, like as you know, you guys said that. Oh, is this okay? Yeah. So like the guy said, there's a lot of resources available. Like obviously like Telegram groups and like there's courses and books and everything. I think like for developers, really like the most important thing is to have the passion and the vision for what you're building, and then actually things will line up. Like usually, like you can have faith that whatever you're building is gonna get done. You're gonna get there, even through pivoting or whatever. But like patience and tenacity, maybe like those two qualities are like from seeing a lot of developers. Like those are the two things that like distinguish the kind of the real talent versus the people who then you know shift to something else later down the line.
Thanks for your answers. Let's move on to our next question about innovation and entrepreneurship. And how does innovation and entrepreneurship encourage in these developer communities in Turkey? And what are the key factors of successful startup and or projects in Turkey? What are your insights or experiences?
Okay, so as entrepreneurship, for me, like I did a lot of startups, a lot of projects, but the main point is I didn't hurt anyone. So if you give me like $5 to my project, that will completely change my psychology, because I will have a responsibility for you, and the main thing is returning that $5 as a $6 in 1 year, 2 years or something. So if your business model can't make that real, I can say don't do it. One of the main problems is our community is I see a lot of projects that will not work. So whenever I see something, like I say, are the people that are going to really use it or not? So this is the key. Like one of the best project is I ever saw on DeFi business is Uniswap. Like 2 days ago, I checked it, and it has like $12 billion in just 7 days, its volume. So also, if you build a token, then you are taking the risk that whatever you build is not getting attention of the community. When you have a token price, then main focus is token price, and whatever you build is going to be in vain. So you have to be careful with the token creation. I can also give the example of Uniswap. They built the token after the product successfully worked, and people started trading like 3 years later or 4 years later something. They built a token. So don't build a token in the first place, never. And in our community, like you can just Google everything, and you can see the successful business models, and you can see the other ones. So as a part of investors, like I'm talking like this, but also investors sometimes doesn't care about losing money, because they do a lot investment in projects. So if they do 10, 2 of them, 5 of them fails, maybe they're sometimes okay with that. But hurting the community itself, it is much more worse, because people are not earning money easily, and they are trying their limited luck with your project. So this is much more serious stuff here. Like if someone has $100 million, if he loses $100,000, it is nothing for him. But taking a life saving of someone is something different, and it can also backfire. So this is a global project, community stuff, but you know, it's also it can ruin your reputation and killing the potential of the project that you will do in future. Even if it is successful, because of your reputation, it's going to be ruined. So this is the key point. The business has to be finished on paper first. Just you can take a paper and draw it with a basic pen. So there is a lot of tools like drawing a web page, like wireframes. This is nearly free, very cheap. So if you are sure, then you can start it. And if it brings, like if a project does $5, $6 turns to it, then all the investors also will be interested, and it will go very big very quickly. So the first, be honest with yourself and convince yourself that this project will work, and I will earn money, and with me other investors will earn money. And after that you can talk with anyone. Our community is open, and everyone is open for new projects. VCs are open to listen to you. I don't think anyone is here can't say I can't do a connection to the VCs, because this is their purpose. Their purpose is to find new good projects. And that's it.
Thank you.
I'm not very experienced in entrepreneurship, but I finished an incubator program in Netherlands, so I can share my expertise and what I learned in that program. The first thing is don't build a product just because you want it, because first you must go outside and find a real problem, and after that you need to ask your audience, ask the sector, for their needs and what they actually need, what's the actual problem, and then you build a minimum viable product, and then again test the product with your users. There is a cycle: learn, build, and grow. So always learn, change your product with what you learned, and again adapt your product to user needs. And the second thing is meeting the sector professionals are very important. And I can give an example for my company, Das Project, or CTO or CEO Serkan Bilen, Cevdet Babacan. You can learn from them so much, because I see the learning from the book is different, but the learning from the experts are very different. So real practice in the field is so important. And also today is a nice chance you to start. Here are the experts in our sector, and I also see my friend Ryan in there. We just met a few days ago, so hi Ryan. And you can learn them so much. So if you want to be an entrepreneur, start now. Don't think about it.
Thank you.
So being a successful entrepreneur, so it's simple. The formula is extremely simple, actually. Like the baseline. So baseline is do what you say. Because I think in crypto, right? Like if you've been around and had a project, right? Your community expects deliverable on deadlines, and you know, everybody understands things change. But it's on most, in most use cases when it's very successful, right? The playbook is something like staking rewards, for example, or token vesting dates, right? To maintain trust and to maintain a growth in your project, you have to, the message that you send to the community or your investors has to align with what you intend to do. So let's say there's a big token unlock coming, you're pumping in partnership announcements for big things that actually have no content. In, let's say, anticipation of the new liquidity coming to the market because you have a selling point, right? Like, this is the thing that kills the community. Like, having a mismatch between what you actually do and what you communicate to your audience. This is where people lose faith and they start migrating into a different platform. So I think it doesn't matter if you're large or small, if you're just getting started, or if you're you know, if you're already like top 10 project. But the main question is, like, in order to generate a audience and community that's gonna be with you when it's down or when it's up, like, the main question is that you treat them the same way that you treat your co-founder, which is with respect and with doing what you say. Like, that's the start for everything.
Thank you all for your answers. So let's move on to, okay. Do you have any questions? So if not, I'd like to first of all thank you for listening to this panel, and also panelists for sharing their insights and experiences about being a developer. So thank you for hosting this event, Web3 and for blockchain community. Thank you for listening. Have a nice day.